Like me, you probably have heard deep breathing. And some of you out there, I'm sure that you've tried the deep breathing, but it just never landed. You just never knew what you were doing, whether or not that was the right or wrong way of breathing, which is very ironic. Breathing is such an instinctual way that our body works, as if we lost that access to this tendency to breathe effortlessly and have this cycle of breathing happening naturally for us. If you've tried all the deep breathing stuff and it didn't have the effect that you've been told that it's going to have on you, and you ended up feeling more confused and stuck, this video is for you. In this video, I'll share one important tool in your toolbox that can support you significantly in improving your breathing mechanics and breathe in a way that is supporting not only you as a way to regulate your nervous system, but also allow your posture to restore itself and your core integrate in a way that allows you to move through life with a lot more sense of safety at the nervous system level. Let's get into it. Hey, my name is Hedy Shaw. I am a mindfulness teacher and a body worker, and I teach those who've tried everything to finally move beyond what keeps them stuck and in pain through movement and mindfulness. For years, the only breathing cue I picked up from the fitness world was how to brace your core and breathe and create that irradiation to be able to lift heavy weights when you're squatting, deadlifting. That's a useful tip when you are under heavy load, but that's not practical for our natural day-to-day movement. And then due to my own injuries, and I have seen clients going to chiros and physios that mainstream fix my pain appointments, and nobody explained breathing, let alone, like, I would be happy for some of them to touch on breathing, but there was nothing, no conversation on that front. Then I stepped into mindfulness space and heard the deep breathe over and over and over again, which most people translate into pull more air in with little attention to exhale. Teaching proper breathing has become the most important part of the foundational phase of my work with clients. And if you want to learn more, you can watch this video. You already breathe 20,000 reps a day. It's a rep that you're already taking. If we can optimize that, we can leverage that for everything else that we do in the future phases of restoring your posture, building strength, becoming more regulated, and feeling more unconditioned from all the systematic programming that has been driven your life for a very long time. Understanding how breathing works and integrating that into my own life has been genuinely transformative. And it really changed the way I literally speak and how I carry my body in the space and how I relate to the world. And this is a photo of me that you can see how much progress I've made in my body and how differently I breathe. In the first photo, I basically breathe through the belly and I drive my body through my belly, pushing out to create that movement forward. While in the second and the third photo, you see how my breathing actually goes into the back of my body and drives down and creates that stability and flexibility through the way I engage my core. Your body creates a stability by managing pressure and tension like a canister, with the diaphragm on the top and the pelvic floor at the bottom, and the abdominal wall all around it. On an inhale, the diaphragm descends and the rib cage and belly expand. Obviously, we want the rib cage and the diaphragm be the primary reason for this expansion, and belly is fully secondary. Same as the chest and the neck. We only use belly, chest, and the neck on overdrive when we're under stressful situation. This is called 360-degree breathing. And this you may have heard of it, you may know about it, but the part that is not discussed enough, that I believe is the missing link for a lot of issues that we experience in our bodies, and whether it be pain and aches, excess stress and anxiety for no reason. Yes, if there's a trigger, we know that you need to be sitting with trigger and understanding what is triggering it. But then a lot of time we carry a lot of suppressed tension in the body just to exist through our breath and just move through day-to-day life. On the exhale, the ribcage softens down, comes down and in, and the abdominal, especially the obliques, become more toned. So it really wraps, creates this wrapping sensation, like a corset sensation all around our abdominal wall that creates that stacking of the ribcage right over the pelvis like you've seen in my photos. This is often the most stable position for transferring force and absorbing impact. So when we're constantly inhaling, we don't go to a phase that we can really create that strength and that stability in our system to absorb this force that is coming through life, whether it be the way we are fighting gravity or the stress of life, and how confident we feel, how capable we feel to be able to handle that as they come. Basically, we need to exhale on the hard part, whether that hard part is in life or in training. If I want to be really specific in the examples, just on the movement front, we typically absorb a lot more force when we're walking on our mid stand. When your heel strikes and then we're loading the entire foot to take the next step forward. That's where the exhale is necessary for us to create that core integration, to create more resilience for the impact that is about to come. It's not that you're doing it mechanically. When you do train your breathing, that happens naturally. If we want to go for an example of a squat or let's say a deadlift, so whenever we're fighting gravity, that's when we're creating more force. That's when we're typically exhaling. So on the squat, when we're going down, we inhale. When we're coming up, we exhale. And this is mind-blowing to me how this never has been taught to me when I was in personal training school, when I did all the certifications on corrective exercises or active rehab work and joint stuff that I've done. And still so many professionals don't have any clue on this front. And I really wish this will reach everybody so you can really support your people to breathe better, because without that, there is almost no foundation for us to build on that. Let's say you're watching this video for educational purposes and you're already okay with your breathing, or you think you're okay with your breathing. I highly recommend you still do the next exercises that are coming up. And if you always struggled with breathing and you feel like you're either holding your breath or you're too tight, or you get confused on what you need to be doing and you have no sense of connection, this practice and this tool will 100% support you in ways that you'll be surprised, because it did that to me, and I've seen the miracles of it in my work with so many clients as well. Let's get into it. For this, you need a birthday balloon. Don't skip this step, especially if you're struggling with breathing and you don't know what you're doing, and your breathing is making you a little bit disoriented and uncomfortable. So this is a really good and important reference point to know what you're actually doing. So before we start using this, we need to understand that I don't teach deep breathing, because when you tell me deep breathing, and the majority of humans in the world, when we tell them deep breathe, what we're telling them, we're telling them to put more effort into your breath. And as a society, we've been conditioned that everything needs to be effortful. We need to put a lot of energy into the way we're breathing, into the way we're operating in the world. And anything that comes with ease, it's not something that we know how to work with, because we're constantly holding on to gripping and controlling. So I'll show you what happens when I'm talking about deep inhale. So do you see how my rib cage almost lifts up. There's a lot of activation on my neck and my shoulders, and that's a lot of tension in the system. Yes, if you do a spiritual practice, for example, that can be good for a short period of time. That's not a way of life. That's not supportive for your system long term. We need that effortlessness. We need that cycle of in breath and out breath to happen naturally and effortlessly. So then eliminate all that you know about deep breathing for a second. Also, forget about belly breathing for a second. We are not getting the air into the belly. We are not doing any deep breathing. If anything, I want you to think about soft ninja breath. So there is no sound to the breath. And minimize the movement of the neck and the shoulders and ideally the belly. And just take a moment and see how that could look like. For some of you, this must be really difficult. Even some people might feel a little bit stressed because they think they might not get enough air. And that's typically the clue that you're most likely stuck on inhalation. So you're constantly inhaling and there's this fear of not having enough, and we're not giving out enough. So take a moment and just notice, what would it look like? What would it feel like and sense like if you soft inhale? And then on the exhale, just keep it nice and relaxed. We're not focusing on the exhale right now. We're going to go into it in a second. So again, soft inhale, no sound to the air. One more time. That's going to be the in-breath. So every time we talk about in-breath, that's the in-breath we're talking about. If you're really struggling with this, then make it a commitment to improve on this front and really be aware, cultivate that sense of awareness that where are you going? When are you going into that stress breathing? When we're stressed, we're inhaling. I even had someone mentioning that every time I'm stressed, I feel bloated. Literally, I feel like there are a lot of air in my belly. And that can be the case because you're so much into that habit. So sometimes soft inhale so we can get the primary breathing muscle to actually work. So now you're going to grab your birthday balloon, soft inhale, and you're just going to blow into the birthday balloon. Our goal is to get into 8 seconds long exhale. But that's our goal. You're going to build up the capacity for that to happen down the road. And the most important piece of this work is when you're exhaling, you need to remain relaxed enough that you can allow that in-breath to continue being soft and relaxed. That's probably the harder part that you need to figure out how that looks like for you. Now we're going to grab our birthday balloon. So we're sticking with that soft inhale. Ideally, if you're seated, make sure that you're fully leveled. Both of your feet are nicely down on the ground. You can do this standing as well. And then later I'll show you a video that you can do this lying down on your back. So let's get into it. So soft inhale. Again, soft inhale. Nice strong exhale out. So that was 3 rounds of breath. So think about 2 to 3 seconds of in breath, 8 seconds on your out breath. But you can start with 3 seconds, 4 seconds, slowly build up all the way to 8 seconds. And when you really get comfortable with doing this for 5 to 10 reps of breath, then you can move on to the next exercise that is going to integrate everything on a lying position. So have a watch. You're going to create like a foam roller shape. You create a foam roller shape like this with your blanket. And then grab something that is high enough and wide enough. Like maybe this is 5 centimeter, and this is wide enough for you to have both of your feet nice and flat. So I don't want your heel to hover on the ground. I want your heel to be fully on that surface and touching that surface. And then you're gonna put that blanket between your legs, and you're gonna lie down on your back. You got the balloon in your hand, and then you're gonna have both of your hands on your rib cage, and you start digging your heels towards your bum. That gives you a little bit of a hamstring. And then you're gonna tuck that pelvis under you. So I could slide a thin piece of paper underneath my bum like that. So then naturally I am gripping this blanket a little bit harder because of that position. I'm going to review that one more time. So you're going to dig your heels towards your bum, tuck that pelvis under you, and then you're going to have both of your hands nice and flat on your rib cage so you can feel and sense that your rib cage is expanding. So my hamstrings are working really hard here to maintain this position. Soft inhale. Now, nice long exhale out. So our goal is to get into 8 seconds long, nice and consistent. So with the balloon, so we softly inhale, really important, soft in breath. And then you're gonna put the balloon on your lips. Nice, relax. Inhale in again. Soft inhale. Again. You see everything integrating in your side abs, creating that nice integration in the core. So we're going to do that one more time. Soft inhale. Nice long exhale out. Lips sealed, and inhale again. When you get comfortable in that position, so you don't necessarily have to remove the balloon from your lips each time. You can just keep it consistent and keep going with your breathing and then take a break. I hope this video serves you. And I hope that you're going to teach this to your people at home, your kids, wherever you are, because these are simple practices that you can incorporate to change the quality of your life significantly. If you want to know the story of your body, make sure you're checking out Discover Your Body's quiz down below. And I'll see you in the next one.